Hey there, and welcome back. In this short course, we're going to talk about Zoho Forms, the best ways to collect data and then organize it back into the CRM. Just like you've done with many other applications, if you haven't already, go to the administrative panel, applications, click on Forms, add it if you need to, and then you can go ahead and launch the app. Also, before we get started, back in your CRM, we need to enable the Forms to CRM integration. So under Settings, Marketplace, Zoho, you can scroll down and find Zoho Forms. Now, if you haven't already, it'll say Set Up Now. Go ahead and click on that and just enable the pre-population of data. This will, later on in the course, let us take some information from CRM, plug it into Forms for the people you already have in your system, so they don't have to be filling out those fields twice. So if you haven't seen the course on collecting data in Zoho Surveys, go ahead and try that one first. If you've done that already, then you've done half the work for this entire course. We're going to build off of what we already did. The business use case is the same. Let's say here we have a deal for the Los Angeles Lakers. Gerald Wallace is our contact. Once we've taken it to the closed status, we want to, collect client feedback on how our services are and how we can improve. So we want to be able to send Gerald Wallace an email with a link to a form where he can give us some feedback and rate our services. So that's what we did in the Zoho Surveys course. We'll show you how to do it with Zoho Forms. They're similar applications, but we're going to highlight the differences, but also, while performing the same actions, talk about the best ways to use Zoho Forms. So one of the things that you'll need to do if you haven't already is go to Settings, Modules and Fields, and add our custom module. Down here, we already have this Service Reviews module. If you haven't, add a new one already. And we'll just look briefly at the kinds of fields that you should be adding here. Now, you can customize it how you see fit, but the basic idea is have a couple of free response questions where you can ask the client, what went well or what could be improved. So numeric fields where we can ask them to, on a scale of 1 to 5 or 1 to 10, rate the overall service, reliability, or friendliness of the financial advisor. And then some of these other questions are optional, but we will show you how they work in Zoho Forms for the sake of learning how field and page rules work, field layouts, I should say. So if you haven't already, make sure that you have this custom module. We're going to create a form and integrate it with this to show you the best ways to use Zoho Forms for your data collection. Okay, let's go ahead and build out this form. You may have a couple of forms in here already from previous courses, and I have already built out the majority of this. So just watch, feel free to pause the video where you need. The form builder, pretty similar to Zoho Surveys, kind of a drag and drop, add fields as you want kind of thing. These fields I created for your name, your company, are just basic single line fields. These for what went well and what can we improve on during the service. They are multi-line fields. On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate the following? These 3 are just numeric fields. Just drag and drop this number over here. If you want to add in just text without requiring a response, you can add this description field here. Just type in some text. And then down here, these are drop downs, which integrate really well with pick lists in Zoho CRM. So how likely are you to recommend our services to a friend? And then this one here. Now, this is incomplete, but take a few minutes, experiment with any of these fields. Some cool ones like this slider over here, where you can set a different range and people will, select which number they want. Radio is a lot like multiple choice kind of questions, select the bubble, it has the answer. Address fields are actually quite useful. These integrate really well with the address fields on your contact or account record in the CRM. Basically just has it all listed out for you. So Some of these are really useful, pretty similar to Zoho surveys, but you will begin to see some of the differences. I think the user interface is not quite as nice as surveys, but it is pretty good for just gathering simple data, lots of questions. Another, I guess, unique thing to Zoho Forms is that you can add page breaks, which we'll be doing in the next video to create multiple pages and then start working with layout rules. Once you have your form built out, we will add a few page breaks in here to demonstrate how to use page and field layout rules. Let's add a page break after these free response questions to put these on a different page. And then let's also just add a page break at the very end. And here on the last page, we will just add a little message saying, hey, if you've verified all the above info, please submit. Thank you very much. These description fields are pretty cool. Customize all the fonts, add in text, links, files, all sorts of cool stuff. So think about how to use that. Save this, go to rules. Now this is a little different than Zoho surveys. Instead of just clicking on the question and adding logic rules, it's actually in its own tab. But you can do a little bit more here. So that is one nice thing about Zoho Forms. Add a new field rule to show the video question. Let's say that we ask them this question and say, I am very likely to recommend Affluence Financial to a friend. Then we can show, hide, or show grouped choices. We want to show the question about filming a promotional video with us, because if they're not very likely to recommend us to a friend, we probably don't even want to ask that question. But then going off of this, we can set a form rule so that if the answer to this, sorry, not the very likely question, if the answer to filming a short video with us is yes, then we could either redirect this to someone, assign a task to someone in our organization, send an email notification, because that's really useful, right? If someone submits a form and says, yes, I would love to help you guys with this, let's know about it. We're not going to set that up for now, but just something to think about, useful for later. And page rules, just a little bit different. Instead of setting logic for forms, you can set logic for entire pages. So let's set up a rule for page 1 and say that if your review of the overall experience is less than or equal to 7, then let's skip to page 3. Let's not even ask the question about recommending us to a friend or the video. We don't want to bother them with that. But if it isn't, let's take them directly to page 2 where they can answer those questions. So you're probably thinking of many other use cases, ways you can customize, change this, improve it, modify it. That's great. We simply just don't have the time in these quick videos to go through a perfect example. But experiment with this. These rules are really nice, let you do a lot of cool things. In this next video, we'll start learning about how to pre-populate information into your Zoho form. Now, once you have those rules built out, it's pretty easy to test it. Just click here on this big green button, Access Form, and you can see what other people will see upon a form fill out. So put your name and your company and your rating of all these. Everything went super well. Really nothing at all. So pretty good ratings, 8 and above. Let's see if it works. And it takes us to page 2. So we can answer, maybe for a small bribe, we recommend it. But if the answer very likely, this next question pops up. And if we answered yes, then we set up a form rule to send out an email. Someone could be notified of this submission. It goes to the next page. But if we go back and we change our answer to just a measly little 4, it'll take us to the last page. We won't even be asked these questions. So it looks like our form layout and field rules are working. Let's start on the pre-population. Okay, we've reached that part of the course. Back in the builder, let's click on Advanced Fields. Okay, no worries, not too hard. You've got some cool things here. We're only going to really go in depth on one, but a lot of these are pretty self-explanatory. Add a payment field, add a formula field. In fact, you could like add one here at the bottom that simply just adds up this plus this plus this, and you could name it something like your total score, and then it would just add up your 8 plus your 7 plus your 6, and you'd have a score of 21, right? You can add like matrix choices, image choices, signature, terms and conditions, but what we're going to talk about, what's really special, is the Zoho CRM field. It doesn't really matter where you place this because we're going to hide it, but we are working out of the deals module, right? Because we're going to send out these emails with the form link at the end of a deal. Standard layout. We'll go ahead and just go with deal name. This is like the lookup, what it's looking up. I'll explain more about that later. And then map fields to pre-fill values. So let's do this. The account name, let's go ahead and map it to your company. And then contact's name, let's map it to your name. So this is pretty cool. You can pre-populate data from a CRM record to the Zoho Forms record. So go ahead and save that. And then in the next video, we're going to send out a test. Go to your deals module, find an example deal record that has both an account and a contact associated with it. And then we're going to send out an email. I'll show you how to do that, and we'll test it and see if this worked. So like I said, back in your CRM, go to the deals module. Here we have a corporate financial plan for the Los Angeles Lakers. Now, if I want to send an email, just click here on the little plus button. Remember, there are other ways to do this. We'll talk a little bit later about just inserting a link into an email template, and you can automate that using workflow rules or other methods. And at the very beginning in the first video, if we enable that pre-population of data, we have this little button here that says insert forms link. So we'll say, hey, fill this out. Oops. And if we insert this forms link, we can select our service review form. You can display some text, but honestly, this is just a test, so don't worry about it. Just insert it, click send, send it off. And I already did this a minute ago so that it already landed in my inbox. And this is the link that popped up. So it says corporate financial plan for deal for the Los Angeles Lakers, name Gerald Wallace, company the Libertarian Party. So this worked. Now I don't have to fill out those fields. I can just continue with the survey, submit it, boom, it's in the CRM. Or is it? Not quite. We have not yet integrated it with the CRM, but we'll do that in the next video. Also, before you forget, hide this field because we don't want actually, maybe you can't edit this, but if this didn't have anything in it, you could actually search, and it would basically, it's a window to the deals module, and you don't want your clients being able to search for other deals and obtain information about other clients. So let's go ahead and hide this. Really simple. In fact, we can just do it right now. Look at that, hide field. This is now hidden, and it won't appear in the survey, in the form when people fill it out. Okay, let's integrate this form with the CRM using this advanced CRM field. Oh, gotta save that. I don't know why sometimes it auto saves, sometimes it doesn't, but better safe than sorry, just save it. So these options appear. This is pretty cool because we use that special field. We can either add a new record to a new module. We can add a related list, or we can update a record. Now, you might think, let's click new record because we have a custom module called service reviews, but we also have this related list. Now, if you set it up correctly, you have a lookup field from the service reviews module to the deals module. And so what does that make the service reviews module? It is a related list of the deals module. So let's click on this and it might make more sense in just a minute. So module deals, because that's where the Zoho CRM field is coming from. So it's really your only option. Now the related list, we have all of these. Look at that, service reviews right there. So we can now add a service review using this integration, and it will automatically be related back to the deals module. So that's pretty cool. For review name, you have all these options. We don't really have a good name for it, but if you click this right here, add input manually, you can do a pretty cool thing. You can do service review and then add in a field label, and let's do your company. Done. And then let's add lots of these other fields. So what went well? Let's do what went well during the service. What could be improved? What can we improve on? Overall service, overall experience, friendliness, advisor's friendliness, reliability. Which other ones? Would you recommend us to a friend? How likely are you to recommend us? Promotional video, and I think that's all of them. Let's also enable the trigger of workflow rules, blueprints, etc. in the CRM. Let's attach any attachments to the CRM record, which for now we can do a PDF copy of the form submission. We're not going to be upserting any records assignment rules. I'll include a link below that talks about assignment rules and how that works. And you could tag records if you wanted, but this looks pretty good for now. So let's integrate it. It says it was successful, and let's go test it out yet again. So now that we've integrated our form, let's go ahead and fill this out for Gerald Wallace, who was quite the player back in the day. He's also really impressed with Affluence Financial's performance. It's going to be really well off with all the advice from these guys. Let's test this out, make sure it doesn't let us. Actually, it looks like it does. Oh, and this is the formula field I forgot we created before. It's actually letting us put in a value higher than 10. So we'd better, you know what? Values. We need to set the range of values from 0 to 10, not the number of digits, because that is a very different thing. So if the values go from 0 to 10, and if we save that, then it will take effect probably in the next, it'll definitely take effect in the next survey that's opened. So once these are added, this will add up correctly. What went well? Just about everything. Absolutely nothing. And that's all Gerald Wallace has to say. So it looks like because he rated us really highly, he's very likely to recommend us to a friend, and he would love to help us film a short promotional video. I would love to meet him, so I'm pretty excited about this. That's awesome. Yes, verified all the above, submit. And let's give this a minute. This is going to add a related list record to the deals module, but what related list? It's a service review. So in our new custom module that we created, there should be a new record there. So that's one of the cool things about this Zoho CRM field, is that you can add related records, you can control where it goes. It already fills the lookup field, and it makes some things quite a bit easier. So in the service reviews module, this new one just appeared, a service review for the Libertarian Party. Awesome. Click into this and it looks like it has all our information. So we can then start running analytics on this kind of stuff. Very likely to recommend. Oh, look at this. It populated the lookup field to the deals module. This is perfect. Promotional video, yes. If we had set up a form rule, someone could be notified about that. So lots of good things happening here. Just a couple more things to talk about in terms of forms. Talk about email templates, links, and one other way to pre-populate information into your Zoho form. Okay, a few different options for automations here. Let's go to settings, templates, which probably done many times before already. And remember, we want this out of the deals module because as soon as someone closes a deal, like my man Sergey, we'll do that. So let's just select a basic blank template. And a couple things. You want to add a button. These are pretty cool, and you can just name it Review Our Services. And hey, look, there it is. So you can include a link from Zoho Forms or from Zoho Survey, like we did before. But click Zoho Forms, and there is our service review. So any form that has the Zoho CRM field, that advanced field, and then connected to your specific module that you're working with, you can select it here. And this is the this is the permalink, and then this is going to work for all of those automatic emails, drawing all the information into your field. If we want to add some more text here, maybe just like a quick link inside the text. If we select all this, we can do the same thing. So select your text, click this little link button, and you have the same options, which is awesome. So you don't have to go like search for it anywhere. Zoho Survey, sorry, we're not working with surveys. Zoho Forms, and we want to select our form. Click Save. It's now embedded inside this text. So if you saved this, then Forms, fill out our survey. So if you save this, you could go ahead and send it out from the deals module. You could set it up in a workflow rule, include it in a custom function. Whatever you need, whoever you send it out to, their form will now be filled out, pre-filled with some of that information from the CRM. The next video will talk about a little more archaic way method to do this using field aliases. Okay, this video is optional because once you figured out how to use that advanced Zoho CRM field, you probably won't want to try it this way. But let's just go back into our test template and just experiment with a couple things. Add in another text field here. And then back in Zoho Forms, go to Settings. And I mean, it's even a little hidden. It's not super straightforward, but this is how to do it. If you're interested, go to Field Alias and then Set Field Alias. So this is a lot like custom variables in Zoho Surveys, if you've used those. So for your name, let's just do name, something very simple, all lowercase. For your company, let's do something very simple for company. Go ahead and click Save. And then that is going to map this essentially custom variable, this alias, to this field, and this alias to this field. But what we have to do, go to the Share tab, click, you could shorten the URL. copy that, and then paste it here, and then do your little question mark, and then name equals, oh, and then you do your little hashtag thing. So account name, and then ampersand, I don't even remember, was it company equals hashtag, oh wait, no, I totally messed that up. Name is for the, for the contact name. Why is it okay, sometimes it's dumb. Go really slow and then it can handle it. Contact name ampersand company equals your account name. So now that we have this, we have our base URL, and then basically we're storing this information from the CRM, this contact name for the deals module, and we're putting it into this variable or this alias, which will then be mapped to, well, I showed you it earlier, to this field. No, to the builder, to the your name field. And then this, the account name is stored in company, and it will be mapped to the your company field. So if you send this out, save it, send it out, test it, try it yourself, you will notice that this also accomplishes the same task. But the problem is if you don't use that advanced Zoho CRM field, you don't have the option to add a related list record. So then you could, what's it called? You could map this specifically to the service reviews module, but it wouldn't have that lookup field automatically populated. So you'd then have to use maybe a deluge custom function in order to associate those two records. So this is a little more archaic, but it also has its use cases, just simple to know, something fun to learn if you're interested. But I really recommend using that Zoho CRM field so that you can quickly just add in the link and really trust the data to go to the right places and create the right associations. Okay, really just wrapping up this course. Well done. As you can see, pretty similar to surveys in many aspects, but there are some both good and bad differences. I don't think aesthetically it looks quite as nice. But there are options as well to customize that. We've already gone through, well, all of the fields that you can add. There are obviously lots of other things you can do. Experiment with that, play around. There are lots of rules that you can set up to make the form fill out experience good for the end user. Lots of different settings that you should look into here. Honestly, don't use most of them most of the time, but some of them might be useful. Themes, this is where you could, attempt to make it look a little bit nicer, add a little bit of color, a little bit of spice to it, instead of just this really basic kind of bland format. Under the Share tab, you have multiple options of how to use it, embed it, attach it in different places. But remember, if you're just sharing this link with people, it won't be pre-filled, right? Because it's not coming from the CRM. In terms of integrations, you have many more options than just with Zoho CRM. Lots of options of, throwing information in here. Zoho Recruit, maybe you send out a form to potential candidates and you want to throw information into Recruit. Throw information into a contract that you're then going to send off for signing. Throw them into a spreadsheet. Lots of other options here worth looking into. Set up an approvals process. But this really that we've demonstrated in this course is kind of the most useful because the CRM with its relational database is extremely powerful. And then what CRM can do is then sync all of this information. We will cancel this. Sync all of this information from all of these modules over to Zoho Analytics, where you can run some really good reports and dashboards on information from all over the Zoho suite and external apps. So those courses are coming. I look forward to that. But hopefully you've learned a little bit. We'll also learn about some of the differences between surveys and forms, know when to use them. And then also look for the Zoho Creator course coming out soon, where you can really start getting complex with your form submissions, layout rules, and how you're organizing and throwing your data into different places. So best of luck. Have fun playing around.